Hey everyone, I hope you all are doing good and having a wonderful day. In this video, I'm going to talk about another open source AI agent that you can use to automate your bug bounty as well as penetration testing journey. Okay, but as always, before diving deep into this video, if you haven't checked out my previous video, then go ahead and check it out. In that video, you're going to learn a very interesting way to find broken access control that I have personally found on a real world application. And we're going to take reference of that video in this particular video as well, to test how good is this particular application. And at the end of this video, I'm also going to share that why I think this can be the future and what are the things that are currently lacking to make it the future on the go. Okay, but as always, again, go ahead and watch this video if you haven't checked it out. The link is given in the description, as well as you can see it at the right side of the screen. And now, with that being said, let us get started. Okay, so the tool that we are going to use for this particular video is known as Strix, okay, which is an open source AI hacker that can find and fix your vulnerability, okay, and it's really cool. I have used this and it seems promising to me. Okay, so you can see this is the tool, and let me just show you quickly that how we can install this tool into our machine. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to scroll down. You can clearly see how we can install it. It's actually very simple. You simply need to use pipx, or you can use curl command. I have used pipx. Okay, so just copy this and then you need to go to your terminal and type pipx. Let me show you like this. You can use pipx as well as you can use pip3 as well. So I have used pip3, install Strix agent, and including this break system packages because I have not created a virtual environment for it. Okay, so if you just do this, you'll see that Strix will get installed into your machine without any issues. Once you have done that, then what you need to do is you need to export these two things. Okay, first thing is you need to export which AI model you're going to use and the provider. For example, here we are using OpenAI GPT-5. Okay, so we are just going to copy this, Control C, and we can simply go ahead and paste it here, Control V, and here it is exported. Then you need to export your API key, okay, from that particular provider. So here we are using ChatGPT, I mean OpenAI, right? So we'll be using the API key for that. Let me just quickly go back here, go to the browser, and we are going to create a new API key here, and we'll be naming it as like pentest Strix just for the video. And we're going to create the secret. Once we have that, we're simply going to copy this particular API key that we have and we'll export it. So let me just quickly go ahead and type this, and we'll go here, paste it like this. I'm going to remove all these API keys, so you cannot try this actually, but let me show you quickly. We're going to copy this here and paste it right over here, and we're good to go. Now, once we have these two things done, we can simply go ahead and start playing with Strix. Okay, it's actually very simple, So what you need to do is also one more thing. If you are new, you need to install Docker CLI. Okay, you can install docker.io. This is number one. Then you need to install Docker CLI into your machine. Okay, like this, and then you can also install Docker Composer. So these are the three things that you also need to install into your machine. Okay, now with all that done, if you have configured everything properly, you should go ahead and try to play with this tool. Okay, so we'll simply go ahead and first we'll try to pick http test php.vulnweb.com. This is my favorite target. And don't worry, in the further exploring of this tool in this particular video, we're going to see that how it is behaving on some cool applications. Okay, but just to show you guys, this is how it works. Sorry, let me just go here. Let me just type http test.php.vulnweb.com. We can simply go ahead and copy this out like this, and then we can type Strix -- target. Then we are going to paste this here. And right now you can simply go ahead and hit enter. Okay, the moment you're going to hit enter, let me just show you guys, okay, what exactly it's going to do, but I'm going to stop it in between, okay, because I know what it's going to do and it's going to consume a lot of credits from my API. So let's wait. We'll be waiting for a few seconds, and as you can see, Strix has been almost started. We'll be waiting for a few more seconds now, and as you can see, it has started the penetration testing on http test.php.vulnweb.com. Now the thing is that this particular application behaves at a multiple sub agents. So this is the root agent, so think of it like the main manager. Okay, and then it will have a lot of sub agents that are going to perform a part of the penetration testing. For example, looking for SQL injection, looking for cross-site scripting, doing content discovery, looking for IDORs, looking for broken access control, and all those good stuff. Okay, so it's going to start like that. And since we haven't added any further instruction, what it's going to do is it's going to take the target as a whole, and then it's going to analyze everything for you. Okay, so you can see it has started spawning the agents, and if you take a closer look, the first agent that it has called is enumerating subdomain or subdomain enumeration agent. Okay, it'll try to enumerate subdomains from all the possible technique that it knows, and then it will move to the different level of vulnerability assessment. Okay, I'm going to stop it right over here because I know it's going to take a lot of time, and it has also started consuming the tokens. So I'm going to just to control first escape. Yes, so the agent is now stopped, and we'll simply go ahead and stop this particular execution. Then we'll go back here, and then we'll provide instructions. Okay, this is how you can provide instructions. Actually go like this, and then we can actually tell if we are looking for something specific with this particular tool. For example, over here I would like to know if there is SQL injection present on this particular endpoint. We all know that it is actually there, right? So I can simply go ahead and change the target. Let's go right here, and then we can simply go ahead and type the instruction like identify only SQL injection on this specific endpoint. Okay, so we can also provide our own custom instruction, and we can go ahead and hit enter, and now this time it will going to follow your instruction. Actually it is instruction, not instructions. Let me just quickly fix this. Here we are, and I think we should be good to go. Yes, it is now started, and we'll wait and see how much token it consumed and whether it was able to find the SQL injection or not. So I'll get back to you once it get finished. Okay, so as you can see, the scan is almost completed. I mean, still going on. It was just writing the report and all those things, but I've just stopped it. Okay, and you can see we have spent about $1, 1.5 million tokens, and we have found the SQL injection. Right, if you go ahead and see, we can see that the application has used all these program. If you go all the way up, let me show you if I can show you guys. Okay, let me just scroll down. Okay, I cannot show you, but exactly what it was doing is that first it identified the SQL injection using the tool SQL map. Okay, and then it created its own tool. I don't know why, but I mean, this is how LLM works, right? They don't go with the specific pattern unless you like fine tune it or things like that. Okay, so it has identified this issue, then it created this particular Python program to enumerate the databases. Okay, if we scroll down, we can simply go here, and we can see that it was able to identify its MySQL, and it was able to find the database name. Okay, it also says that the likely full name is ACUART. Okay, this is interesting because the reason why it is saying this, because as we all know, these general models are trained on all the data on the internet, right? And since this is like a lab environment and it is like public, there must be n number of write-ups on how we can find vulnerabilities on this lab, right? I mean, it's everywhere. So when they were training this model, all of these informations were trained on this LLM as well. Okay, so these information of how to solve this lab, this is like the only reason why it was able to find that this can be the likely username. Okay, and this is also why you should never be judging an AI agent based on how well it is performing on public CTFs, because all these data of solving these CTFs are already on the internet. Okay, so they are likely to be trained on all these data. So it's actually very interesting. Okay, but apart from this, you can see that it works really great. It was able to enumerate the database name and all. Okay, this is interesting, and we have spent about $1, right? Let's try to go ahead and see how well it is going to perform on the lab that we have solved in the previous video, which is our private lab, and which actually demonstrated a real world scenario, right? Let me just show you that I still have the access to the lab. If I go ahead and type 93 8080, yeah, you can see here is the lab. Okay, let's try to go ahead and see how well the application is going to perform on this particular lab. So I'm going to stop this agent right now. Let's stop this. Yes, let's wait for it to stop. Okay, and we are going to replace this with the public IP address. Let's just go ahead and copy this. Okay, and this time I'm going to let it run the whole vulnerability scan. Okay, and then I'm going to show you that how much token it spent, what's some amount of credit that was used, and whether it was able to find that particular vulnerability that we're looking for or not. Okay, so I'm going to remove the instructions from here and change it to HTTP 8080. Okay, or I think the better thing will be to, let me just go all the way here. So I was also testing Shannon, we'll cover this in a different video, but right now let me just go ahead and use this particular DNS name. So basically it is the local DNS which is pointing to the same IP address, so we don't have to worry about anything. Okay, because the issue might arise because I'm running Docker as well as the web application, the lab, on the same server, so sometimes it can cause some issues, but doing this will be 100% safe. And then we can simply go ahead and hit enter. Okay, and let's see how well it's going to perform. Okay, hit enter and let's just wait for a few seconds. So again, it's starting. We'll wait for a few seconds and the penetration testing has been started. So now I will get back to you once this particular test almost gets completed. Okay, so now as you can see, the scan is almost completed. I had to stop it because it was creating a lot of report, and it was actually able to find the IDOR vulnerability that we have talked about in the previous video. Okay, if you go ahead and take a look, we can clearly see IDOR reporting somewhere over here that it was able to find it, authenticate, read the CSRF token, get the cookie, encrypt the plaintext, user to admin as a normal user, right? You can see encrypted, and then send the post request again, and the data will be updated. Okay, so this is actually really interesting. I can assure you that if I was using the same cybersecurity AI tool, which is CAI, on the same assessment, it will have a different result, right? So this tool is actually really great. Now the thing is, it was also able to find CSRF vulnerability, which is not true. CSRF is actually not present on this particular application, so it kind of hallucinated, because go down, it says that CSRF validation is state change without requiring any CSRF token validation. This is actually not true. Okay, because if you go to the source code, you'll see that we indeed needed the CSRF token, right? Let me just go back again. And here is where it lagged. It was also able to perform all these steps to find the vulnerability. I also had to give this tool the credential directly through this input prompt from here, given the credential, the username and password, and it worked without any issue. Okay, so this is actually really great. It actually blown my mind, because the vulnerability that we've talked about here is something which is not really easy to find. You can check out more about that vulnerability in the previous video, as I've told you in the beginning. Okay, now let's try to go ahead and ask a very logical question. Okay, is this tool, or is AI is going to be the future of cybersecurity and pen testing? And I will say yes, 100% it is going to be the future. Okay, is the current AI technology that we have is going to be the future of cybersecurity directly? I will say yes, but not in the way most people think. Most people are thinking that this is going to replace them. Okay, and this is not actually true. Okay, now if you think of it in a very traditional sense, that this is doing your job and you're not able to do this job, then obviously it's going to replace you. If you are able to do the same thing, the AI agent is going to do it much better. Right now, let me talk about some of the things that most of the AI applications are missing and that no one's actually talks about. Okay, one of the most important thing that which I think is very crucial. Let me just stop it right here. I'm sure it's still running. Let me just stop this one. Okay, stop this and let's go back to the root agent. Cool. So let's talk about what exactly is happening. Okay, what exactly is lacking in this AI agent thing that people are doing, according to me. Okay, so one of the most important thing which I think is really important and no one talks about is the use of API keys, right? Because right now the best LLM models out there are not free. Even this tool is open source, but you need to connect this tool with an LLM, right? And if you're going to connect it with the LLM, you'll need the API key and you need to basically pay for it. Now, Take an example, like, for labs and all, it is good. But what happens if we have a real world web application to test, right? In real application, we have, lot of subdomains. Like if you're doing external pen test, there are going to be n number of subdomains. A single application can have multiple pages. We need to test each and every page and all those things, right? For this particular test alone on the lab that we have created, we all know that this lab is only, of 2 pages, login and the dashboard. Still, it cost me around $6.82 to complete this assessment. Okay, now think what will happen in cases where the application is much huge and much larger in size. In that case, that this amount is going to grow exponentially. The credit that you'll need to spend will be growing exponentially. Okay, the main thing is that the API that we are consuming, initially the API consuming is low because we don't have much context window. Context window is basically, think of it as a memory of the chat GPT or the LLM that knows the previous context, the previous chats and interaction that we had, and based on all the previous messages, it will be able to come up with more advanced and unique ways to find the vulnerability. Now, the more context window it has, the more API it's going to consume. Okay, that's why you see that in the first assessment of SQL injection that we did on testphp.vulnerability.com, the consumption was not that high, but here it is straight away $6.82. And remind you that this is still not completed. It can go up to, from what I'm guessing, it can go up to like $16.x. Okay, for 2 pages. That's, for me, I think that's very expensive. The second thing is that AI agents are fully, like the best AI agents that you're going to use are fully on the cloud right now. So I do believe that when there will be a time when AI agents are going to be running locally onto a machine and it will run as good as the models that are that we're using today, then there can be a real AI movement. Right now, we are very much dependent on 3-4 companies for getting response from the AI, from the good LLMs, right? So think of it like, when you're doing pen test, when you're doing an engagement, you need to be very confidential with the data and everything that you're doing. Right now, each and everything that we are doing here is getting sent to the ChatGPT server. For example, let me go ahead and show you what is our logs. If I go to dashboard and if I show you the log, okay, so whatever this tool has done, we'll be able to see right over here. Okay, and you see whatever we have did with the tool is actually over here, which means that it is actually saved somewhere on the OpenAI's server, right? And in real world engagement, in real world pen test, this is not something that most of the client are going to agree with, because they want their data to be as much confidential as it can. So that's like one of the most important part, because there will be concerns of privacy. Like think for a second what happened when the Cloudflare outrage happened, right? In that case, the most of the internet went offline, right? And now if we are relying on these 2-3 AI providers, it is not going to be good for us as a cybersecurity researcher, right? Another thing is that it also depends, and all of these tools are heavily dependent on the model that we are using. For example, if I go ahead and use an older model, for example GPT-4o, or even a local model like local Llama 3.1 or something like that, it's not going to work efficiently. So the main magic is happening inside this particular model. The tool, however, is good at creating small modules to achieve each task. For example, it has created like small modules for the whole reconnaissance thing, and this actually reduces hallucination in the LLM, okay, which is actually great. So this is what the tool is good at. But overall thinking, overall logic, and the main brain is actually the model, right? So am I saying that AI is not going to be the future again? No. AI is definitely going to be future. I see a future where all of us as pen tester are creating AI agents to achieve or to automate the task of cybersecurity, bug bounty hunting, and ethical hacking. We'll be managing these AIs. We'll be managing these AI agents, because right now if I want to, like for example, use this AI agent into my pen test and bug bounty, I won't be able to use it because of the cost and because of the context memory. So right now what I'll do is I'll first analyze the application by myself, and then I'll use this particular on those areas which I think is necessary. And even then, I'm going to constantly monitor it to see that whether it is not getting into a rabbit hole. For example, let's say that there is a possibility of cross-site scripting, but there's some kind of WAF that is blocking the accesses. Okay, what's going to happen in that scenario is the AI might get into a rabbit hole of not finding the vulnerability, or it can also happen that the vulnerability is there, but the AI is unable to find it. In both of these cases, we are going to be very much low on the time, right? So right now, these are the issues which I think are to be noted by anyone who is actually afraid of AI. And what I suggest you guys as a mentor is that you should now try to build your own AI agents. Instead of relying on the AI models in the cloud, try to go ahead and install local LLMs, try to play with it, try to learn how we can fine tune it, how we can improve the LLM responses and all those things, because I think that is absolutely going to be a future, but not this one where we're actually using the AI from particular service providers. That's actually what I think. There are a lot of compliance that I think can break because of this. For example, as I've told you already, security and privacy concerns are there, everything's getting stored over there. Chances of hallucination is high, and the cost of API key and everything can go high tremendously. And in the near future, let's say if there's a future where these are the only way through which we can use AI agent, these things are going to be costly. Okay, these things are going to cost us our time, right? So that's what I think. So right now, from my understanding, I don't think we should be worrying about AI agents, but we should be knowing, or we should know how these AI agents work and how we can build one. Okay, if you know these things, I think we'll be very much good to go. And this is what needs to be done from you guys who are beginners, who are learning, because we need to be in this field, we need to be constantly learning with all the new tools and technology. You can't stick in the past. So if I definitely see this as a future, but instead of fearing from these AI tools, we should be learning to how to use this tool. Only then you'll be able to identify the weakness, the issue. For example, the few issues that I haven't identified, maybe you'll be able to identify a few more issues, right? And then you'll be able to know that what exactly are the issues that the current AI agent have and how we can fix it. That is the main learning that we should be doing, instead of worrying about whether AI is going to take our job or not. I hope you guys have understood this video. If you have any doubts, if you have any issues, feel free to let me know your doubts or issues in the comment section. And now, with that being said, keep learning, keep hacking, and thank you so much for watching this video.